Hey, welcome to the Creative Marriage Podcast. I'm Ed. This is Lisa. We're so excited to bring this to you. You know, we've just written a book called The Creative Marriage. Love for you to pick that up. It's newly updated, expanded, illustrated. It's now available at exomarriage.com/store or Amazon. Today, we're talking about part 2 and a little a session on sex.
Creative intimacy.
Yes, time to remove the barriers and get down to what sex is. Because once we know what sex is, then we can know what sex does.
Okay, give us a quick refresher on what sex is.
God invented it. God invented it. Jesus modeled it through his intimacy with the church. He models it. And then people need it. We desperately need it in marriage, and we need God's perspective of it.
Yeah, so we have a little acrostic. The word sex, S-E-X, it's supernatural, it's enjoyable, and it's not X-rated. It's God created. So with that in mind, we've covered last time some of the sex busters and sex builders. So let's do a little refresher of just the sex busters from last time. So sex buster number 1 was you have unrealistic ideas of sex. We talked about the temptation of pornography, of, magazines, stuff like that. The sex builder would be to see through the smokescreen about what sex really is and the value of intimacy with your spouse. Sex buster number 2 was you don't understand your spouse's sex drive. And that's going to lead us into the first one for today.
Yeah. Because people always ask us, because we wrote a book called The Sex Experiment, and we did this book tour, and one of the biggest questions was, how often should we do it?
Am I going to answer that, or are you going to answer?
You can answer it first, then I'll.
Okay, so if you're asking that question, there's not a definite answer. You have to weigh in on the needs of your spouse. We've talked in these podcasts about communication, the value in that, and understanding one another's needs, understanding one another's sex drive is part of that communication. And a wife needs to understand the privilege that we have to fulfill the desires of our spouse. And actually, the Bible talks about that, not to deprive one another. It's first. So if you're needing a scripture reference, 1 Corinthians 7:5, and come together
we can
again.
Quote that verse to each other.
And come together again so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of control. So we don't want to deprive one another.
I would say too, Lisa, I would say we have to know our no's. It's how you say no. I mean, if one, is not in the mood or whatever, you don't say no.
Because that's shaming your spouse. Like if you give that, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Don't touch me like that. That's shaming your spouse.
Yeah. How about this? Say no with an appointment. No in an hour.
Did you know? I know you know
tomorrow
this.
Tomorrow morning. No, whatever.
Did you know, because we've written about this, that when you say no to your spouse, you're messing up your fellowship with God. Nobody thinks about that. No.
What do you mean by that? That is compelling.
If God gave us as married couples the gift of sex, when we're saying no, a steady diet of no,
I think a lot of us hear this in marriage. No.
And so what we're doing is we're saying no to the gift that God has given us, and it messes up our fellowship with Him. And I believe when we have a constant no or negative vibe with our sex life with our spouse, that it's deeply rooted in what God is doing in our life, that we have an issue with our relationship with God.
So it's fine to say no, but really with an appointment, right?
Yes.
No, with an appointment.
The 24-hour rule. That's a good one.
The 24-hour rule. That's good.
Yeah. So let's just say, that you're tired or maybe you're not feeling well, or the proverbial, I've got a headache. Now, I have to tell you though, that is kind of it can be disputed, because a lot of times we get in bed at night and you're reading your book or whatever, and it's like, oh, not tonight, honey, not tonight.
And then sometimes,
I'm tired.
guys will see our wives, and they'll have on that "not tonight, honey" nitgown,
which basically could be an old football jersey, or something.
That'll kill a rally.
Yeah, it'll kill her up.
We have to laugh. We have to laugh.
We have to laugh.
Yes,
but
yes.
if you find yourself saying no, and I have seen this scenario play out in our early married days, not so much recently, but in our early married days, it's like, oh, the kids were crazy today. There was so much on the agenda. I'm just tired. I'm tired. And then invariably the phone rings. My cell phone, I get a text, and all of a sudden, I'm energetically
and I'm thinking,
answering.
Where was that a second ago when I made my move?
Yeah.
She was tired when I made the move.
In
and
other
now
words,
on the phone, it's like she has this burst of energy.
So in other words, we have to be very cautious in saying that we're tired when we're really just pushing our spouse away. So and the 24-hour rule.
Yeah, so at least what you said is so true, in that a diet of no without an appointment, it will increase
the temptation.
I believe the temptation, the temperature of the wandering eyes of all sorts of things online.
So let's go back to the 24-hour rule. Okay. So if you're going to say no with an appointment, meaning within the next 24 hours, let's set a time. Let's make it happen. And that is doable, because we're going to give maybe we'll reserve some energy that we would normally give our kids during the day or something like that, so that we can make sure we have energy within the next 24 hours.
So we can schedule sex.
Schedule sex.
Sexual. How you say that? Combine those two words. Sex. Let me see. Schedule.
Schedule sex.
No. How you put sex in?
Sexual.
Yeah.
No.
So okay. Sex builder. Sex builders stop depriving one another, right? So you're making excuses. Sex builder is stop depriving one another.
As I mentioned in our last episode, it's a privilege.
Yes, it is.
This is our covenant relationship. So and a lot of the no's come from the perspective of sex that was brought into the marriage. Maybe you were promiscuous before marriage, and you have horrible images, visions,
or maybe abuse, or
you could have been abused.
Anything,
what are you bringing into the relationship that maybe is creating that environment to say no, because there's pain involved? That's where you need to seek a Christian counselor so that your marriage can thrive in this area. If your sex life is not what it needs to be, then both husband and wife will suffer the consequences. So take tremendous effort in getting some wise counsel and helping, if someone who can help you overcome that pain that you may be bringing into it. That might be one aspect. It could be that for some reason you think sex is taboo. Maybe you have that perspective, and sex is not taboo in marriage. It is a beautiful, intimate thing between the husband and the wife. Again,
That's
like
good.
You said, worship, discipleship.
Yeah. I have written about this, at least in answer to this way. For most men, we need to have a sexual release about every 72 hours.
That's what, 3 days?
Yeah. So if you're asking, if you want to get that specific, it would be around that time.
And that can vary depending on how old you are,
true.
how young you are. There's different I don't know what the levels of desire that you have at different times in your life. But again, you have to talk about that and make sure that you're energetically fulfilling your spouse's need.
As far as scheduling it, that's why I think when it comes to, some are saying, well, we got teenagers, we got kids, and they're all over the house, and blah, 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 blah. When kids were small, hopefully you had a bedtime, a time where you put them down. If you have teenagers running around,
they
just
have a
tell
later
them,
bedtime.
Yeah, okay, you need to be in your room at, let's say, 9:30 p.m. If not,
You might see something.
You walk around the house, you might see something crazy.
Boy, you've never seen teenagers stay in their room.
All they have to do is see that one time. They'll never come out again. So that's funny.
True, though.
That's true.
Because what is it?
It is.
Kids.
Keeping intimacy at a distance successfully.
Yeah. So your kids can be something that gets in the way.
But you have to negotiate
and no joke,
around them.
No joke. You and I used to tell our kids, when they were younger, they had a bedtime. Now, I'll tell you a popular thing that's happening right now is having your children sleep with you. And boy, there's nothing in the Bible.
No, it's my opinion. It's my opinion.
That says, thou shalt not let your children sleep with you. It's not there. But when you allow your children to sleep with you consistently, you are bringing them into the sanctuary of your bedroom. Ed and I have taught our children that our bedroom is a special place.
That's right.
It's a sanctuary for you and me, right?
Of worship, sanctuary of worship.
And
we should have sex at least, this is serious, at least once a week because, I'm just saying minimum, once a week because, we go to worship
at least once a week. But having your children, you've got to have space. And I believe, and a place. And I believe it teaches your children that your relationship is the most important. That space is the most important. It's a retreat for you and your spouse. And so we taught that from a very young age. They had a bedtime. And then when they got to be teenagers, it was, you might want to stay in your room because Dad and I, we're going to enjoy one another's company.
And
they knew what that meant.
And I'm happy too that we brought the bed back in church. Because for far too long, the church has sort of kicked out the bed. We didn't really talk about it.
You've done a lot of messages on this. And we actually, in our book, we wrote a book several years ago called The Sexperiment. That is kind of a shocking title, but we unpack a lot of these things. We also talk about it in the Creative Marriage book, but in the Sexperiment book, we go into detail about all of the, the tough topics.
Yeah, we even, when we launched the book, we put a bed on top of the roof of our church. We have a pretty large church and the building's pretty tall. So we did that. And
it was kind of like like an advertisement or
it's a book release.
Book release. Yeah, that's what you call it.
And so it gave that message. So hopefully people will take that message and receive it.
And one of the things in that book was the next Sex Buster, which is Sex Buster that you are stuck in monotony. It's commonplace. It's not exciting. Why is it not exciting? Are you not thinking about it creatively? Are you not planning special dates? Are you not dressing the part? A lot of times, as you mentioned, we have that not tonight nightgown on that's just old and tattered. Well, let's just talk about the guys.
Whoa, that's convicting.
It can be that as well. So think about why there's no excitement. Maybe you're not taking time away from each other, or you're too tired from all the other things going on in your life that you've given energy to everything else.
Yeah,
you're not giving
maybe you're on busy
that.
boulevard. I'm busy. And if you're too busy, it can wear you out and you'll waste your energy where you should conserve a little bit for.
So instead of being stuck in monotony, why not trying bringing back romance? There's an entire book in the Bible, the Song of Solomon. Why don't you read that to one another? That's an unbelievable, sexy book in the Bible.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So that's a good place to start to bring romance back. Okay, so this is another one, Ed. Sex Buster number 5. If you're keeping count. I know we haven't given the number for all of them, but
go back. Yeah, okay.
Well,
I'm sorry.
You could listen to the previous episodes, but Sex Buster number 5, you are trashing
the temple.
The temple. What does this mean?
Our bodies are a temple of the Holy Spirit, a dwelling place, and we should take care of our bodies.
Eat right.
Yes.
Work out, exercise. Take care of your body. You don't have to spend a lot of money on clothes or fancy gyms. Do your part in making this temple that God's given us. It's the only one he's given us. It's our I mean, we're one and done after this one. And so do the best with what you have and present yourself well. I guess that's the most important thing. Present yourself well to your spouse.
And then the Bible says in Romans 12:1, it says, offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. So, I mean, our bodies matter because God made us. So we need to take care of them. And again, as you said, do the best.
And we're not putting like Ken and Barbie expectations out there that we're going to have these perfect physiques and all of that. No, we're talking about feeling good. When you work out and eat right, I mean, I know personally when I enjoy my peanut M&Ms that I enjoy, I love chocolate. But if I eat it too much, I don't feel good and I don't feel rested and relaxed. I'm not going to be presenting my best. Does that make sense? And if when you eat right and exercise, you have more energy, you have better self-esteem, you get your serotonin levels up, which is that mood lifter, and it's a big deal.
But when it comes to sex, though, Lisa, again, it's not always where one is. I'm sorry. When it comes to sex, it's not like both are equally turned on.
No.
So one of the spouses is going to have to go, okay, I don't feel it as much as you, yet you make the decision, and so often the feelings follow. You commit
yes.
to the act of
sex.
sex.
A great point. That is such a great point.
The feeling follows.
Yeah.
So in marriage, we're attracted to each other. You have to have that wow, wow, wow kind of vibe going on. But then you make this commitment and the feelings flow, as we've been talking about, back and forth. And the same is true with sex. I commit to have sex regularly, enthusiastically, creatively, and romantically.
That's good.
But I know sometimes I'm not going to be as wow, wow, wow as the other, but I've still got to get my wow, wow, wow on. And
That's
do the
good.
deal.
It's all about being committed.
Yeah.
So I hope this has been not only entertaining, but informative for you. And if you're liking this podcast, please subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating.
Color in all the stars.
That helps us get the word out. And we would love, love, love to have you invite some people to join us. So it's always about keeping our marriage creative.